So a few weeks ago, I did a video about how to print your own labels at home and the best and cheapest way to do that. And that is with onlinelabels.com. And that is a place that allows you to purchase any configuration pretty much of any label you want. The type of paper or label being used, the quantity that you want to purchase, the shapes, the sizes. Really, there's so many options when it comes to onlinelabels.com. And when you purchase those, they arrive at your door. And then you can print your own designs on them with your own home printer. It's a great economical and efficient way for you to print your own labels and save money when doing so. With that being said, a lot of you reached out and asked me, well, what about having them print the labels for you? Do they also do that? Because many of you, like myself, like to design our labels, but not necessarily want to print them at home. As you scale to a certain level, it becomes much more cost effective to have them printed for you. And it's just a huge time saver as well. It's faster, it's easier, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper. You're not using any of your own ink or printer or paper at all. A one-stop shop for both print at home or have them printed for you is onlinelabels.com. So we're going to talk about how they can help you in this regard as well. And we're going to focus mostly on their custom roll labels, different designs and shapes, of course, and you can even do variations. So for example, with my standard collection, I have around 40 total scents, but I don't need 1,000 of every one of those labels. So what I can do is order 2,000 labels total and then break that up so it's 50 of every different design or every different scent in this case. So you can order them in variations. And again, if you ever need both blank labels and labels done for you, then check out onlinelabels.com because it's a one-stop shop for both of them. Not to mention the customer support is great and so is the pricing. So what we're going to do today is run through an example of using their software to design a label. Now you can use other software to come up with your design, but we're going to go ahead and use what's already built in with Online Labels whenever you purchase labels. And I'm going to show you even some samples that were sent to me from Online Labels just to be able to show you here on the channel the type of quality that you can expect. Because I've used labels from many different printers. So the first thing I always want to do is compare the quality from printer to printer or lab to lab. So before we jump in and to start designing one together and show you what that looks like, let's review some of the options of the type of label that we're talking about today. So again, here on onlinelabels.com, we're going to see custom roll labels. And as you can see, there are great reviews. Now again, custom roll labels just means that they come on a roll, which is what a lot of people really do prefer, especially when you're talking about a lot of them. But that doesn't mean that you're stuck with just like circle labels. You can do circle labels, rectangle, square, oval, various sizes. They've got a lot of defaults listed. Of course, you can also enter one in specifically for yourself. And the next section is you choose the material you want. Now we're going to talk about materials here in just a second. And then after that, you're going to choose your finish. Do you want matte? Do you want gloss? And are you going to be applying these by hand? Or are you going to be applying these with a machine? And then of course, the quantity. As you can see, 500 labels here for $1/4 a piece. That's pretty darn good considering you're not using any of your own paper, printer, or ink. So it's a really good deal. So you would choose the label that you want, the quantity that you want, you would upload your artwork, and then you go through a free proof process, place your order, and you're good to go. And I can tell you firsthand, they showed up very quickly for me. No concerns at all. Now, I said we were going to talk about the materials, and we're just going to highlight a few things here real quickly. As you can see, they have a lot of different types of materials that you can choose from. The ones that are going to be the most common, I would say, are going to be your standard matte and gloss, which is these top two. Simple, sophisticated look, whether you want matte or gloss. Now, one of the benefits of matte is the fact that you can write on them. So if you're using any labels for your test candles that you want to track some notes, or you want to write directly onto the label for the candle itself, then the white matte is a perfect choice because you can write on it. And then there's weatherproof, recycled, block out, clear gloss, clear matte, brown craft. There's so many options. I would say there's three that most people are going to tend to use, and that is going to be your standard white, gloss, or matte, and then you can print any design or color on it. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're using one color, black and white, full color, it's all the same cost. So you're not paying extra for like multiple colors or anything. And then the last one that I want to talk about is the white film or BOPP label. This is very common, especially for things like warning labels or any labels that might be exposed to any kind of weather, water, other environmental factors outside of boxes. The outside of the candle, like on your warning label, is a great thing because you want to make sure that that's going to last. If someone sets their candle on a table and the table's maybe a little wet, then that label will be much better than just a standard paper type label. So BOP labels are very popular, but again, you can look through these, ask onlinelabels.com support if you have any questions about what label might be best for you. Now let's go ahead and design one together. So what we're going to do is launch. If you go to my account, and you will see Launch Maestro Online Label Designer. Now here you've got a few different options from the get-go. you can just jump into any saved designs that you already have. So if you've already been using this, you can just print some of your own saved designs. You can look at pre-designed templates. So let's, for example, scroll down to, let's say, candle labels. They're going to give you some that are already pre-designed, and then you could just simply click on one, edit it however you want. Well, you choose the label size you want, and then you can just customize the template. So pretty sweet. It's just like how Canva or something else would work as well. However, this is built right into the Online Labels website, which is perfect because that's where you're also going to be ordering from. However, if you go back, you can also do a blank template. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to say we want roles. And we're going to do, let's scroll down and pick like a rectangle. Oh, what do we think here? Let's see. 2 by 3.5. That seems like a reasonable choice. All right, so this would be good for a lot of size candle jars. And what we're going to do here is just start from scratch. So we're just going to build one together. We're going to wing it. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. I just want to be able to show you how easy this is to do and the kind of results that you can get using this designer. Again, you can design outside of Online Labels. You can use Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva, anything you want. And if you do that, you would simply go to Images, click Upload New Image. You would upload your finished design. It would drop it right over top of the blank template here. However, again, we're going to start one from scratch. So let's go over to Pixabay. This is a place where you can get some royalty-free images to use. And I'm just going to start scrolling here. I think it's searching by default for a background. So we'll just scroll down to find something that looks kind of nice. Well, kind of like this one. Mountains Lake House. So again, I'm winging this from scratch. I don't actually have a scent or anything in mind. We're just going to design one. All right, so now that we're back over at the label designer, we're going to do image. We're going to say upload. We're going to browse. And then we're going to select the image that we just downloaded. And then we're going to drop it in and then just center it how you want. I'm just going to, again, not spend a ton of time on this. We're just going to put it right in the middle. First of all, it's a great looking image. Mountains, a nice stream or river, and then we've got a little log cabin on a dock. That's actually a really nice looking photo here. Hopefully you guys can see it pretty well on the camera. All right, so with this image, let's pick a name like Mountain Retreat. How about Mountain Retreat? So the next thing I would do is probably just to make sure that jumps off enough and you can read it easily enough. I'm going to go to Shapes and we're going to add a rectangle, and we're going to make this rectangle white. And we're going to stretch it across the whole thing like this. We need to make it smaller, something like that. What do you think? Is that big enough? And then we're going to leave it, now centered works. Don't worry about everything that's showing off the bleed here. That's not going to print, obviously. It's only going to print where the cutoff is. So you just want to make sure the images and everything just stretches beyond that, so the entire label is printed. All right, so now we need to add some text. And we're going to go with Mountain Retreat, I think is what we said. And then we're going to drag that to the center. We do need to be, let's change let's make it bold. I don't like the font for this, so let's go with Pacifico. That looks good. All right, and we're going to up the size. Now, as you can see, it broke to separate lines. We just need to stretch it out. And then we need to center and then just scoot it up. So there we go. Mountain Retreat. I think that looks pretty good. I know this isn't going to print, but it's bothering me, so I'm just going to bring this in like this, just because while I'm working on it, I'd like it to be more aesthetically pleasing. It's called OCD. It's fine. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Mountain Retreat. It's an interesting font. I think it goes really well with this type of label and scent. But we're not done, so we need to add a few other things. So let's add, first of all, we don't need that fancy font. Let's go back to like a standard. That'll work. And then we don't need it as big, so we're going to go smaller, that. And then we're going to add text design. We're going to do the net weight of, let's say, 10 ounces. And then slash, you want to put grams as well. And I believe 10 ounces is 283 grams. I only know that because I've done it several times. Although we can fact check it, right? Let's do ounces to grams. 10 ounces, roughly 283. There we go. Let's change this to white. And we're going to drop this down here. Got to hit OK. Drop this down here, kind of in the corner. I think that looks pretty good. And then we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to add another thing. It just says handcrafted scented candle. Just whatever. We need some more text. And we're going to stretch this across as well. It's already centered. And then we can move this up or down I kind of like it at the top. That looks good. So again, this is very rushed, very quick, but I think it turned out pretty good, right? For something that took us, what, like 2 minutes? Pretty easy to do. So then if we wanted this, we just hit order labels. Now, if you're printing this at home, as we show in the other videos, you could do file, print, and then you can choose, do you want it to print on the entire sheet or just part of the sheet or whatever. And then you would select to make sure you're selecting the right label sheet, the design and the size. But there's a whole other video that we talk about that. And this one, we're going to say order labels. We like it. We want to say start order. It already knows that we have the right size for the label because we chose it from the beginning. We would click on roll, or you could do sheets if you wanted, but I'm going to go with roll. We're going to leave the size that we chose earlier. This is where you'd select your material type. We're going to go with, white BOPP is fine. And then gloss or matte. You know, that really depends on the vessel, the jar that you're making your candle in, and it's a lot of personal preference. I like a little gloss sometimes, but I don't like ultra glossy. I really like the look of matte, but it just depends on the jar you're putting it on. If you're putting a really, really matte label on a really glossy jar, sometimes that can look kind of weird, or vice versa. So you just try it and see, like order a couple sheets or samples and see which one you think kind of looks the best, and then go from that, or again, reach out to the support. They'll help you make the best selection. But we're gonna say matte. I don't know, that's fine, it doesn't really matter. And then we would choose the quantity. So let's say I want 500 of these. You even get like a little sample here of what this is gonna look like. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? I mean, I almost want this one that I just made. That looks really good. And then from this point, you just check out and you are all done. You wait a few days for your labels to show up and you're good to go. No worrying about all these like alignment issues on your own printer, which if you've ever tried printing your own labels before, it's a giant pain in the yeah, it sucks, right? So you can work through it, and Online Labels actually, if you are printing at home with the labels from them, they have a great little alignment wizard that does help you out with that, by the way. So don't be afraid to go that route. But man, if you don't even have to deal with it and you're ready for that stage in your business to start having the labels printed for you, awesome. It's just, man, it's like game changing. It really is. So my advice when it comes to when to kind of make that jump is, if at any point you start needing a significant number of labels and you don't want to print them yourself, that's when it's time to go to an online print lab like Online Labels. And if you're worried that like, well, I want to work on a new design, but I'm not really ready to have those printed for me. Like, I don't know if I need enough yet. I'm kind of tweaking, I'm tinkering, I'm doing some test products or whatever, then print those at home in the meantime until you're ready to add those to your variation, to your next order of printed labels that are done for you. Again, another great use case for these labels isn't just product labels, it's warning labels. So we talked about that earlier. If you have a standard warning label that you use for your one size jar or two different jars that you have those printed for you and just order 100 of them, 500 of them at a time, whatever it's gonna get you by, and don't even worry about them yourself. Yes, you can buy pre-designed warning labels from any supplier, any candle making supply store, but why not customize it? Why not have it specific to you? So it's not just a standard warning label, it's a warning label for your candles that has your net weight on it, and it has your company name on it, or maybe a website or anything you want, that can be on your warning label, and then you have those printed for you on a roll from onlinelabels.com. It's pretty fantastic. I would highly recommend it, at least for that purpose. And lastly, another great use for these type of labels is if you want to do any labels, branding labels. So for your packages or like on your product boxes, or maybe you tissue wrap and kind of bundle your items together in a shipping box and then you put a sticker on top. You can use the same thing, Online Labels, to have those printed for you. You've probably seen in some of my other videos, I use a round label. It's got kind of a twist on my logo that I use to put on all my bubble mailers that go out, and I use them in various other ways as well. But they're just stickers that I use just on like a lot of miscellaneous branding stuff. Well, that is another great use, something that you're just gonna use a lot of, and it doesn't change much, man, just order a ton of those. So that is actually what I asked them to send me to test out and do some quality comparison, because I have had those printed from a few different places. And I'm gonna show you right now what I'm talking about. So they come, a standard roll label will come like this, and it actually comes on one of the wheels, which is fantastic. First of all, it maintains the shape and structure of the label roll so it doesn't get damaged. But I also have a crossbar on my shipping and fulfillment table that holds these labels through that hole. So it just holds all on a reel. All right, so I'm gonna open this up. As you can see, I've not even opened these before. Here we go. This is the design I was talking about, right? So it says Black Tie Barn, handcrafted, and I use these labels on just miscellaneous things all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these off. Actually, I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and grabbed 2 of these mailers I was talking about. Here's one that I use already all the time. So you can see that. Already from just a glance, you can tell it looks pretty much the same. But I'm gonna grab one of these new ones and put it on this, and we're going to see up close and personal if there's any difference, and if there is it for the better or worse? Okay, so I've got some good news. So the right one, or wait, this one is the new one from Online Labels. This one is the original one. Both are great. Neither one of them are problematic at all. However, I would say the one from Online Labels, the black is a little more black. So there's a little bit more contrast. The color seems to be a little bit more rich, although it is just black, but still, see if you can notice what I'm talking about. It's probably super hard to see in the camera, but I can tell you, I promise you, looking at them, they're very, very close. I'd almost say that the difference is negligible, but if there is a difference, I would say the black is a little bit more black with the ones from Online Label. So it's already gotten my vote. Again, I've used their products for, oh man, 10 years, something like that. So yeah, it's nothing I was concerned about to begin with, and I just like their whole process, and I like all the options and the label designs and the paper types and everything. All right, guys, well, that kind of wraps this up, but wraps this up. I'll be here all week. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and a little bit of a quick walkthrough of designing a label together with their software and how to just use their custom labels for whatever purpose you need. I named a few different great use case scenarios that I think work well for having your labels printed for you. There might be others as well though. So definitely check them out if you haven't already. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you already use onlinelabels.com? And if you do you buy the blank labels and print at home? Or have you also used some of their pre-printed labels? I'd be really curious, some other feedback, people that have used them for a while. But like I said, everything looks good to me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And thanks to Online Labels for sending me these labels so that we could talk about this here on the channel. And with that being said, I'll see you guys all next time. And don't forget to check out this next video. All right, see you guys next time.